I'm Jacob Courtwright, and this is The Locker Room. Hello everyone and welcome into The Locker Room. I do apologize for my nasally sound today as I am fighting a cold, but we are going to push through because the show must go on. And before we get into some exciting news, make sure you follow The Locker Room on Twitter, TLR with Jacob, on Facebook, The Locker Room host Jacob, on Instagram, The Locker Room Podcast 615, and on TikTok, The Locker Room 22. This episode of The Locker Room is brought to you by FNX Fitness. Are you tired of going to the gym for hours and never getting the results that you want? Do the big brand health and supplement chains leave you scratching your head for answers? Well, look no further. At FNX Fitness, all of your workout worries are finally taken care of. At FNX, we make it easy to shop for the supplements and remedies you need to help change your life. With an easily accessible website and a team of representatives waiting to answer your questions, shopping for your supplements has never been easier. Go to fnxfit.com. That is fnxfit.com to start shopping today and use promo code TLRHOST. That is promo code TLRHOST, all capital, for 15% off your order. With our Made in the USA stamp of approval, we guarantee our customer satisfaction. For a healthier life, go to fnxfit.com. We here at The Locker Room are very excited about our partnership and friendship with FNX Fitness. I am somebody who used quarantine to balloon up like Jabba the Hutt. I am somebody who used quarantine to fit as many pizza rolls into my mouth as my gut would allow. And FNX Fitness did nothing but encourage me to be a healthier me. And all it took was my very first purchase of supplements, both recovery and pre-workouts, to get me excited about going back to the gym and getting back into a routine of being healthier. And guess what? I am happier, healthier, and more excited than ever to be in a gym. So make sure you go to fnxfit.com, purchase your first ever supplements and recoveries so you can get back to being the best you. All right, now let's get directly into our Sunday show out or Monday makeover. What other game can I start this Tuesday off with than the Bears versus the Falcons? And no, this is not a Sunday show out for the Chicago Bears, although I will give a Sunday show out to Nick Foles in his performance with 188 yards and 3 touchdowns and 1 interception, which was a weird situation if you watch the game. It was a jump ball between the two defenders. It just so happened that the corner held on to the possession longer than the wide receiver, because otherwise, basically the rule of tie goes to the runner applies in football. Tie goes to the catcher of the football, the wide receiver. But Sunday show out for Nick Foles just because he brought the Bears back after being devastated throughout the entire game. But I'm still left scratching my head. Monday makeover for sure with these Atlanta Falcons. I must be the only one that's sitting here pounding the table going, how in the living hell does every Atlanta Falcons coach still have a job? From the head coach to the water boy, everybody should be gone. There is no way you blow 2 huge leads in back-to-back Sundays. I mean, there is a way because we have seen it, but I don't understand how as a head coach, how as a player on that team, how as an owner, you sit back and just go, well, we blew another lead. Yeah, you already blew one in the championship against the Patriots. We already know about that one. Then you blow a huge one against the Cowboys last week, and now against the Chicago Bears. You're leading, you're dominating. You have no lack of offense on the Atlanta Falcons. From running back to wide receiver to tight end, these Atlanta Falcons, especially with Matt Ryan playing the way he is playing, have no lack of offense. They can put up points with the best of them. I have used every excuse that I could. I used the defense isn't playing great, which they're not. I have used the offense is just not holding on to the ball long enough, but they are. The only excuse I have left is fire every single coach on that staff, because something is not adding up. These Atlanta Falcons should be 2-1 right now. And for some reason, everybody is just okay with them losing huge leads late and then being the butt of the joke come Monday morning. So it's not the offense. The defense played, I thought, pretty decently on Sunday, holding the Bears to only 10 points in the fourth quarter. Then it became 16-26, which is still a 10-point lead. And I'm like, okay, this is game over. As a Bears, supporter, that's my hometown. I turned off the game. And then I get a call from my mom. You need to watch this game. And I'm like, well, why? It's over. I don't want to watch the Bears lose. I then turn it on to find that Nick Foles is playing, which Trubisky was horrible all day Sunday. I'm 100% okay with Nick Foles being the starting quarterback. I talked about this at the beginning of the year. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I said week 4. I'm sorry, it only happened in week 3. But I watched another mental meltdown for these Atlanta Falcons. And at this point, I cannot blame anybody else but the coaching staff. The coaching staff simply does not have these guys in the right mindset come clutch situations. It's not even clutch situations, come game-closing situations. All you'd have to do is get 3 or 4 first downs per drive, punt the ball, and the Bears would have had 3 minutes to go and would have not had any time to come back and win that game. Now, kudos to Nick Foles. Kudos to the coaching staff making that switch from Trubisky to Foles. And kudos to the Bears for sticking it through. Their defense finished out the game strong, and that is why they should be happy with where they are. Of course, 3-0 in the season, but the Bears are trending in the right direction. They're starting to get it done on defense. Once this defense settles in, especially with all the injuries that they had, once Nick Foles settles into this offense, this Bears team is going to be dangerous. But definitely a Monday makeover for the Atlanta Falcons. Absurd, atrocious, disgusting. Fire every coach and rerun it back on Sunday and see what happens. Next up in Sunday Showout or Monday Makeover, we are going to the Rams versus the Bills. Now, this Sunday was one of the best football Sundays I have seen in several years, especially in Week 3. It was an incredible day of close bouts, close comebacks, close wins, and the Rams almost pulled this one off. The Rams came back from a 25-point deficit, but only to be finished off towards the very end by Josh Allen throwing a late touchdown. Another 4-touchdown day from Allen. The Bills very well might win this division. Now, it's going to be close. A lot of people did not give the New England Patriots a chance, but with the way the Patriots are playing, with the way Cam Newton is playing, with the way that team is structured right now, they are a tough out. They proved that against the Seahawks. The Cam-led Patriots are no easy walkthrough in that division. It is definitely going to be a close one. I say the Patriots edge out the division, but the Bills are right there. Don't count the Rams out, though. I was very impressed with the Rams, of course, very impressed with Aaron Donald. But Sean McVay has Jared Goff and has this team firing on all cylinders. They made a couple silly mistakes to start off the game. Of course, we had the interception by Jared Goff, and then their defense just simply wasn't getting it done early. Once they settled into the game, they really held this Bills team in check, especially in quarters 2 through 3. This was a game that everybody said was done, over, goodbye, shut it off. Same thing I did, but I can't count out these Los Angeles Rams. I am impressed with them so far, but the Bills are definitely probably Vegas's favorite to win the division right now, especially with the way they're playing. Allen's a stud. I was not a huge Allen guy, but Allen is a stud. That is back-to-back 4-touchdown days for him. Sunday showout for the Bills, but I am also very impressed with the Los Angeles Rams. This one, I've got to give it to them. I mean, for the love of the Lord on high, the Browns are officially over 500. Now, the Browns played a horrible team in the WTF, or the Washington football team, as a lot of people call them. The Browns versus Washington. Sunday showout for the Browns. I just had to give it to them because they finally made it over 500. How sad is that? It's been 6 years since the Browns have had a winning record, and they are over 500. Here's what I'm going to say about the Browns. I'm not very high on them. I do not think that they're going to continue this above 500 trend any longer, as the Browns have not only a very tough division to be in, but the Browns are just the Browns. I'm waiting for the choke job. But Nick Chubb is the best running back in football right now. You can't argue against that. 100+ in every game, multiple touchdown games. Chubb is playing like the best running back in football. Not saying that he is, because I do not believe he is, but he is playing like the best running back in football. Mayfield is being efficient when he needs to be. Last year, we saw a lot of Mayfield running around, acting crazy, trying to scramble like he did in Oklahoma, and it just wasn't working. What people loved about Baker Mayfield was accuracy and attitude. Now he's finally got some swagger back. His accuracy has been on point, which is why they are 2-1 so far. But I can't give them too many props because they are playing a very bad team. I have one question to ask for Dwayne Haskins. Bro, who do you play for? That's a serious question. Who do you play for? Do you play for the Browns because you threw more balls to them than you did your own team? 3 interceptions on the day for Dwayne Haskins. There's somebody out there who's one of my friends. You know him. He's been on the show a couple times, Levi Bowman, who believes Dwayne Haskins is the future in the NFL. You tell me on Sunday how in the living hell that is the future of anything but the XFL when The Rock runs it next year. I can't deal with Haskins. 2 of those throws were egregiously bad. One of them, I'll give it to him. It looked like his receiver just missed the route, but 2 of those were egregious. So I'm not on the bandwagon of Washington might win the division at all. I do not believe in Haskins. Haskins needs to figure out which jersey he's wearing on Sunday, so that way he stops throwing the ball away to the other team more than he throws it to his own team. But Browns, I give you a Sunday show out simply because you don't suck as bad right now. This one I had to talk about because it was just so bad that they both deserve Monday makeovers. Bengals versus the Eagles. It was the battle of the worst teams in football, minus the Jets and the Washington football team when they meet up at some point, I'm sure. Both had the chance to win the game 6 different occasions in overtime. Now, listen to me. Overtime, they both had 3 different times where they could have won the game. And this game ends up in a tie, 23-23. Both teams couldn't make it past midfield several different times throughout this game. And that is not a testament to this defense is great. This is a testament to dropped passes, running backs who neither of them even broke 100 yards. Both quarterbacks, Carson Wentz, who is the most overrated trash quarterback in their division, and that is in rival with Dwayne Haskins for that title of worst in their division. And then Joe Burrow, who is literally throwing to Tyler Boyd right now, and that's it. Joe Burrow has been the only bright spot for the Cincinnati Bengals. First off, I love Joe Burrow. He is a stud. He is going to be a stud in the NFL. He's got a big arm. He's smart. He's efficient. He doesn't turn the ball over a whole lot. But he's going to get real tired of losing real quick. I mean, he had guys drop wide open passes. Mixon has got to do a better job. Their offensive line has got to be better at blocking. Give Burrow chances. Give Mixon chances to move the ball past midfield. And as far as the Eagles are concerned, Carson Wentz needs to be benched, put in Hurts, let's see what he can do. Wentz is just, I understand he doesn't have a good offensive line. I understand he doesn't have offensive weapons. I understand his running backs are not very good. But Carson Wentz has got to just make better throws and be smarter. He's trying to put the whole team on his back, and he simply cannot do it. So here's what you do. Bench Wentz or trade him in the offseason, see what else you can pick up and run with Hurts right now. You've got to shake up something in Philadelphia because this is just a pitiful football team with aspirations of winning the division that have crashed so hard to the ground, it's unreal. Battle of the worst. Like I said, the only bright spot was Joe Burrow. Monday makeovers, for the love of the Lord on high. I can't watch this anymore. Next up, we've got the Steelers versus the Texans. Sunday show out for these Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's what I'm going to say. Big Ben is back. 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. It is proven time and time again that Big Ben is a top 5 quarterback in this league when healthy, and I still believe that to this day. You've got Mahomes, you've got Lamar, of course, you've got Aaron Rodgers, but Big Ben is in that conversation for a top 5. He's not above Russell Wilson, of course, but he is right on that. When he is healthy, he has been efficient, he has been accurate, he is tossing touchdowns, not interceptions, and this Pittsburgh Steelers team is now 3-0. So I believe in Big Ben. The Pittsburgh Steelers are someone to be reckoned with. Their run game with Connor is a top-notch run game, but the problem is the Houston Texans simply are just terrible. Watson is going to beg for DeAndre Hopkins back. Watson can't continue to just make up plays on the fly. You've got Cooks, who is a burner, but he's not a turner. He's not going to turn those sticks from third down to first down. He can bomb for a touchdown here and there. You got Will Fuller, who can never stay healthy. You've got what tight end? Exactly. You've got who else in the passing game? Randall Cobb, who can't do anything else either? Exactly. Watson, now I do believe that they'll get on track this coming week and that you'll see a Texans team fight for the division title in the AFC South, but I am not impressed with what I've seen from the Houston Texans. Watson's just alone. He's crying. He misses his boy and DeAndre Hopkins. They simply have no deep threat. They have no threat in the sticks, 15 yards and in. And David Johnson's simply getting hit in the backfield almost every single contact because their offensive line can't get it done. The Texans are in serious trouble if they do not get back on track this week. Now, I do believe they will. I think that they might get back on track with a win this Sunday, but if they go down 0-4, you can seriously count out the Houston Texans as division contenders. These next 3 games are definitely the games of the week for me, and we are going to go to Dallas versus the Seahawks. Now, I did want to go Sunday show out for the Seattle Seahawks simply because Russell Wilson had 315 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is just absurd to say the least. But I have got to go Monday Makeover for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I do realize that the Seattle Seahawks held Ezekiel Elliott to only 34 yards rushing, and Metcalf did fumble out of the back of the end zone by trying to showboat, and Diggs punched it out behind. So if you have Metcalf make that touchdown, I don't believe it's this close of a game. But it was a close game, and now I've got to do the nitty-gritty and get down to the nuts and bolts of it. The Dallas Cowboys can only perform when being down 2 scores. This is a recipe for disaster throughout the rest of the year. This is not a Super Bowl contending team. This is not a deep playoff team. They are continually playing from behind. Now, I don't really understand why Dak Prescott can't start the game like he finishes games. It mainly is because I don't believe Dak Prescott is that good of a quarterback. Dak Prescott continually puts his teams in situations where they're digging themselves out from a hole and never leading. Now, there are some issues. We did see Tony Pollard fumble on the 1-yard line. We saw Ezekiel Elliott slip in the end zone and get a safety. But the problem is, you take those away. Dak Prescott has got to do a better job of being efficient in quarters 1 through 3. So that way they're not playing catch-up in the fourth quarter. He is not making the right throws to start the game. He is not telling his coach, hey, we've got to open this thing up. We've got to stop giving Zeke the ball when they are stacking the box 10 deep just trying to stop him. Run more play action. Get Pollard out of the backfield and into the open field. Get CeeDee Lamb. Get Michael Gallup. I mean, you are seeing somebody who just got $25 million a year and their star wide receiver to do what? Amari Cooper is doing nothing for the Dallas Cowboys, only targeted 5 times on Sunday. When somebody like that is invisible in your offense, there's a real problem, and I don't know if it's a quarterback or a coach issue. I will say the coach can't play on Sundays, so the coach is not responsible for the 2 interceptions. The coach is not responsible for the fumble. The coach is not responsible for the safeties. I don't understand why everybody wants to continually blame Mike McCarthy when these players are not performing up to their paychecks. Their defensive backs and safeties are floodgates, let everything through. Their defensive line, and Aldon Smith more particularly, are the only people that are performing at a high level. Lawrence is non-existent after his big contract, and they have a running back who is trying to do everything by himself and a quarterback who is not distributing the ball the way he needs to and only likes to play great when he's down 2 scores. big Monday makeover for the Dallas Cowboys. They have got to get things shaping up down in Dallas, or this is going to be another abysmal season for Dallas Cowboys fans. Then we move on to Sunday Night Football, which was the game of the week for me. Packers versus the Saints. Rodgers and Breeze both deserve a Sunday show out for their performances, but I'm going to give the Packers my Sunday show out vote for the week. No Devontae Adams, no problem. These wide receivers, besides Lazard, these wide receivers for Green Bay are nameless, are not that great, but they are made great by Aaron frickin' Rodgers. Now, as a Bears fan, I am not a big fan of Aaron Rodgers at all. Some might say I hate Aaron Rodgers. Some might say I hate Green Bay. But what Aaron Rodgers is doing with these wide receivers that I don't even know the name of besides Lazard, and then there's like Valdez Scantling, those are the only two that I know on that entire offense, and he is making magic out of mud. Aaron Rodgers is in contention for the MVP race along with Russell Wilson. Rodgers makes bad players look good, and that is hard to do. The Saints offense finally looked like it was getting back to normal. It will be back to normal with Michael Thomas, they say, probably returning this coming Sunday. So that's a positive sign, especially with their struggles in the first couple weeks. But their defense has just got to settle in. They've got decent cornerbacks. They've got decent linebackers. They've got a pretty good defensive line. They just got to be better in bigger moments. It seems that when the game is right at hand towards the end, this defense is not performing the way they should. I don't know if that's the Saints' curse, that they always get right to the tipping point of being great and then they decide that they've got to choke somehow. Hashtag Atlanta Falcons, but they've got to push through. So I'm not superly, I don't even think that's a word, but in fact, I know it's not a word. But I am not super disappointed in what the Saints did. It was a great game, 37-30, in a shootout towards the end. Kamara was huge for them. He is continually playing like a top 5 back in this league. Their defense has just got to be a little bit better, but don't take this lightly. The Packers are serious contenders to be back where they were last year, and that is no joke. Aaron Rodgers is playing at a supremely high level. Sunday show out for these Packers. And last but not least, we are going to go to the Ravens versus the Chiefs. Mahomes is the best, plain and simple. I can't say anything else, but Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. They were firmly in control throughout this entire game. Now, I'm going to go probably opposite than what most people think here. I'm going to go Monday Makeover for the Baltimore Ravens because there were some things that shocked me last night in their game. 97 yards throughout the air for Lamar Jackson simply will not get a Super Bowl ring on his finger. This is my problem. Everybody's going to now understand the one-trick pony that the Baltimore Ravens are, which is we are a running team with a dynamic running quarterback, but they have got to be dynamic in and of themselves besides the running aspect of them and be able to throw the ball consistently. Now, their wide receivers look like they don't know how to catch anything. That's probably because they're not getting balls that often. I mean, when your tight end is the number one target, you're in real trouble here. Lamar Jackson is 0-3 against these Chiefs, and the reason is they stack the box and make Lamar beat them with his arm. And he had several wide-open wide receivers, open tight ends that were overthrown, thrown behind, or they simply just did not catch the football. Lamar's got to be averaging at least 150, 175 throughout the air in order for the Baltimore Ravens' dynamic run offense to be effective, especially come playoff time. What did the Tennessee Titans do last year but hold them to passing the football? And the problem is if you can't pass on a not good secondary of the Tennessee Titans, how do you expect to compete in the Super Bowl? You simply can't. So they have got to be better throughout the air. Ravens got to evolve, plain and simple. They've just got to evolve into a dynamic team. Yes, you're dynamic in the run game, but you've got to be dynamic in both passing the football and running the football. Last but not least, the champs are going nowhere. I mean, they look just as good as they did last year. The speed on the outside, the health, the tight ends, the running back now, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they just look all around just as good as they did last year. I fully expect them to be making it back to the Super Bowl. Well, there are my Sunday showouts or Monday makeovers for the week. Now let's go into my players of the week. We are going to go Aaron Donald. He had 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and recovered that fumble, 3 tackles for loss, and 6 solo tackles. Aaron Donald simply is the best defensive player in the league. Without a doubt, can't say that enough. Next, we are going to go with Nick Chubb, 108 yards, 2 total touchdowns on only 19 carries. That is almost unheard of. Then we're going to go Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 181 yards, and a touchdown against these Tennessee Titans. And again, I've got to give Justin Jefferson a player of the week with 7 catches for 175 yards and a touchdown. And I laugh because how in the living hell the Titans escaped that win with 181 from Dalvin and 175 from Justin Jefferson, I will never know. Next, I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett, 9 catches for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Russell Wilson, of course, makes this list with 315 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then lastly, the MVP, the reigning MVP, the probably MVP of the next 10 years several times, Mahomes, 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those are your players of the week. Now we are going to move off the NFL and go directly into the NBA Finals preview matchup. The Lakers versus the Heat tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Let's get to it.
You got to want this game as bad as your next breath. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Butler back to the way. Here's Hero with 8 seconds left for 3. Yes! Oh, my! Here's Davis, 4-3 in the win. Oh, it's good! Anthony Davis has won it for the Lakers!
I want to take those shots. Part of the legacy, I want those shots. I want the big-time plays. This is what they brought me here for.
Butler tries to save it, and it finds its way to Robinson. Down to Butler, and Butler throws it down. Now it's LeBron looking for his first assist. And what a great play! Oh, this is winning basketball.
It goes down tomorrow. The Miami Heat versus the Los Angeles Lakers, Game 1 tomorrow. If you're not excited after that, I don't know what else will pump you up for NBA Finals action. LeBron James is trying to get his 4th ring. Jimmy Butler and these youngsters are trying to steal it away from the King in miracle fashion after taking down the East in jaw-dropping fashion. So, let's do a breakdown of Lakers versus the Heat. All right, so let's start on the Lakers side of the ball. First and foremost, LeBron James is chasing his 4th ring. What does that mean for King James? LeBron James's 4th ring would put him in a very elite category with some greats, but also it puts him closer to the Jordan ring narrative. See, here's the thing about 3 rings. There's a lot of players who have acquired 3 rings in their career. There's not a whole lot of players who have acquired 4. LeBron James would be the first player to ever get 3 rings with 3 different teams. LeBron James would be the first ever player to get 3 different Finals MVPs with 3 different teams. So what does this 4th ring mean? It means LeBron's legacy. If LeBron does not win this series, if LeBron does not win this championship, I sincerely doubt that anybody will ever change their mind on the whole LeBron-Jordan debate. And it's going to be very hard to sway people if he does lose this one. Now, do I believe they're going to lose? Not at all. Let's go ahead and look at these Los Angeles Lakers and their strengths on their side of the basketball. First and foremost, the Lakers' strengths. Size. Size, size, size. Now, I know what a lot of people tell you is size doesn't matter. And I'm here to tell you that size always matters. When you have 2 7-footers in there that can rebound the ball over Bam Adebayo, there's a big difference than Bam Adebayo having to rebound over everybody else on the Celtics squad, or even anybody in the Bucks series. Yes, the Lopez brothers are big dudes. Yes, Giannis is a big dude. But Bam Adebayo had someone that was 3 inches or smaller on him in almost every series. And another big factor with size is also strength. Dwight Howard is the strongest defender, besides sometimes him being on Giannis, that Bam will face all year long. I mean, we saw Dwight Howard move Nikola Jokic around like he was a ragdoll. And those of you who think Nikola Jokic is weak, go back and look at Nikola Jokic in his draft days and in his weightlifting. This man can put up some serious weight. Nikola Jokic is a massive human being who is strong as can be, and he was literally moving him around like it was nothing. He has moved everybody around in this league like it was nothing. So Dwight Howard, accompanied with Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee, is going to be a real problem for the Miami Heat in the sense that they don't have the size or strength to really bang with these Los Angeles Lakers. Another strength for the Lakers, they have the 2 best players on the court. And I think that is why a lot of people are choosing the Miami Heat to lose in 5 or maybe even get swept, is when you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it is too hard to just contain these two, especially when they are championship bound. LeBron James in the finals is a different animal than LeBron James in the playoffs. So I know how we talk about playoff LeBron. I know how we talk about, playoff Rondo. But finals LeBron? Finals Rondo? Let me interest you in LeBron's last finals. Averaged 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. Is that good? I think that's pretty damn good. So the problem is you're about to unleash a LeBron James who now sees the light at the end of the tunnel. He now sees the ring. He now sees the trophy in his mindset. He now sees the finals MVP in his mindset. So you have LeBron James playing at his absolute best right now, especially after the last game against the Nuggets. And now you have Anthony Davis, who is not only did people question if he was a dog, people questioned if he was even going to last throughout these playoffs. And we saw him pound through a twisted ankle, a severely twisted ankle, for 2 straight games to finish out and win the series against the Nuggets. He was phenomenal down the stretch. The Lakers' 2 best players out-trump all of the Miami Heat roster. There's not one player that's comparable to LeBron James. There's not one player that's comparable to Anthony Davis. Now, people are saying, what about putting Andre Iguodala on LeBron James? What about putting Jay Crowder on LeBron James? What about putting Jimmy Butler on LeBron James? Here's what I'm going to say about that. How much does Iggy, Crowder, and Butler affect LeBron? Well, let's put it this way. LeBron averages 25, 8, and 7 against Jimmy Butler. I think that'll do. LeBron James averages 28, 7, and 7, including 30, 10, and 9 against Andre Iguodala in the finals, and 28, 7, and 7 was during the regular season. So LeBron James against Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala in the playoffs, he has their number. Crowder, LeBron James's numbers, he's never played him in the playoffs for a consistent amount of minutes, but Crowder playing LeBron James in the regular season is laughable. He literally fouled out in the 2 games that he played against LeBron when he was with the Celtics, and then they wisely brought him over to the Cavaliers because he was tired of seeing LeBron James. So, there's no defender that can stop LeBron James. There's no defender that can stop Anthony Davis. That is why the Miami Heat do not have the advantage in this series. Or rather, the Los Angeles Lakers have the advantage in this series, I should say. And last but not least for the Los Angeles Lakers, can their role players hit open shots? LeBron James and Anthony Davis, I have no doubt in my mind that they will play at an elite level. I have no doubt in my mind that LeBron James and Anthony Davis will have 25 and 10, 29 or 30 and 10 every single game. I have no doubt in my mind. But can Danny Green step up like he did against the Nuggets and hit 1 or 2 timely shots? Can Alex Caruso settle down into the game and just relax and play good defense and play good basketball? Can Kyle Kuzma not be a complete crap show? Can Kyle Kuzma throw a little bit of defense out there? Can Kyle Kuzma not airball or hit the side of the backboard? Can playoff Rondo continually be playoff Rondo? Can Dwight Howard not turn into a pumpkin after being the carriage the whole night? Do you catch my drift? There's a lot that has to happen for these Los Angeles Lakers to fail. And there's too many variables and there's too many stats that prove the Los Angeles Lakers should win this 5 easily. I fully expect to see Kentavious Caldwell-Pope continually playing at a high level. I fully expect Rajon Rondo's, you could see the look on him and LeBron James's face after they won the conference final. They do not give a flying frick about the conference final. They care about a championship. Rajon Rondo sees it in his sights. LeBron James sees it in his sights. Anthony Davis is starting to get that same look in his eye. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will play just fine. Now that you have a determined LeBron James, a determined Rajon Rondo, you have Dwight Howard who wants his ring. You have players like Kyle Kuzma that hopefully can step in there and just make 1 or 2 shots. I do not believe that the Miami Heat have too much of a chance. There's too many variables that are pointing towards the Lakers' favor. Now let's go on the Miami Heat side of the basketball. The Heat and Coach Spoelstra, their biggest problems and worries is, can they rebound? We saw everybody say small ball works for the Houston Rockets, but the problem is when you're getting out-rebounded 35-17, there's simply nothing you can do. The Lakers, if they continually get offensive boards from Dwight Howard and LeBron James, and Rajon Rondo had 3 against the Nuggets the last game, they can't give up that many rebounds. Can they at least stay within 5 or 6 rebounds of the Los Angeles Lakers? Next, can Bam affect Davis? Can Bam Adebayo affect Anthony Davis at all? Or are the Lakers just going to go straight bully ball and go Dwight Howard, so Bam's now taken away from Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is going to have free range like we saw throughout the regular season against the Heat to just do whatever he wants? So can Bam be effective like he has been throughout these entire series? Bam has been the sole reason that they have won several games throughout these Eastern Conference playoffs so far. So can Bam be effective against not only Anthony Davis, but against these Lakers? Can Spoelstra find a defense that works? Now, we've seen Coach Spo go to the 2-3. If you go into a zone defense against the Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, the smartest basketball player to ever walk the earth, will not only pick that zone apart, but the Lakers will beat you by 30. So, like Coach Spoelstra did in 2013 against in the finals game, he came up with a defense that shut down the San Antonio Spurs. So can he do that exact same thing? Can he find a defense that, of course, you're never going to shut down another team, but can he find a defense that will bother LeBron James, that will bother Anthony Davis? I don't know. That is the big question. He needs to find something that he can do. If there's ever a game that Coach Spoelstra or that Pat Riley and that organization wants, we know it's against the Los Angeles Lakers. We saw Pat Riley go after LeBron after he left the Miami Heat and went back to Cleveland. We've heard it. We know that this is a rivalry. We know that LeBron James doesn't really talk about that stuff, but it is a real hate, I believe, between the Miami Heat, especially the owners, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Can they out-hustle the Lakers? That is another big factor, because if you're allowing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, if you're allowing Alex Caruso, if you're allowing Rajon Rondo, if you're allowing Morris and Dwight Howard and all these other players to get rebounds and extra shots and to out-hustle you, you're going to lose by 30. So can you beat them to the ball? Can you do the little stuff that makes the Lakers work even harder? Can you get rebounds? Can you get the loose balls? Can you be fighting for every single possession? If that's the case, you're going to give yourself a real puncher's chance. Last but not least, can the rookie Tyler Hero step up? He is the deciding factor on if this series goes 7 games or if this series goes 5. Tyler Hero not only has come up big, massively big in these Eastern Conference playoffs, but Tyler Hero has hit big, timely shots towards the end of games. We have seen several rookies have great playoff stretches. But let me give you a list of rookies that have had incredible finals performances, ones that make a difference, ones that help their team win, ones that put their team in the position to be successful. Starting off, rookies who have stepped up in the NBA Finals, Magic Johnson. 1980, he won Finals MVP, averaged 25, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. You want to know who else? Bill Russell, 1957, averaged 13 points and 22 rebounds in his first ever Finals. Julius Erving, 1977. Now, of course, he did play in the ABA before that, but in the NBA opening finals, technically he was a rookie, he averaged 30 points and 7 rebounds. So the question I have to ask myself is Tyler Hero one of those three guys? Is Tyler Hero the next story that is written 30 years later about someone outperforming everybody else as a rookie in the finals? And here's where it comes down to, for me, Tyler Hero being that deciding factor. We know what Jimmy Butler's going to do. We know what Goran Dragic is going to do. We know what Duncan's going to do. We know what Bam Adebayo is going to do. We know what they're going to do. But can Tyler Hero be the game-deciding factor and push this thing to 7? No, I don't believe he can. I don't believe he's Magic Johnson. I don't believe he's the next, of course, Bill Russell because of the size, but I don't believe he's the next Julius Erving. I don't believe he's the next one of those mountaintop guys that can really push his team in his rookie year. Don't get me wrong, Tyler Hero has been the hero. The Miami Heat have been the underdog. The Miami Heat have been the story that everybody wants to talk about, but simply they just don't have enough to push this thing to 7. Like I said, if Tyler Hero goes off, if Tyler Hero has a great game, it might make things interesting. This thing might go to 6. They might take a game off the Lakers that the Lakers aren't thinking or planning about. But I honestly believe this thing goes Lakers in 5 like I predicted from the beginning. Now, I did not predict their opponent right, but I still have Lakers in 5 in the finals. I just don't believe Tyler Hero is another one of those rare breeds that has a finals performance that sets his team up for high success. It's been an incredible story. The Los Angeles Lakers have battled through a lot. The Miami Heat have proven to the world that they are contenders. With 1 or 2 more players, this Miami Heat team would be top of the world. They might even be a daggum dynasty if they had 1 or 2 more players. But it's over. It's done. We're going to be crowning LeBron James in just a few short weeks as an NBA champion yet again, and then we are going to have a discussion once again with, is LeBron better than Jordan? And everybody's going to continue to ride the Last Dance documentary and say no against LeBron, blah, 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 blah. But LeBron James is proving that in year 17, he can still get it done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for joining us here at The Locker Room. We want to thank our partner, FNX, for all your fitness needs and bringing you a healthy lifestyle. Make sure you punch in that promo code and start your healthy lifestyle today. Make sure you follow The Locker Room on our social media. TLR with Jacob on Twitter, The Locker Room host Jacob on Facebook, and The Locker Room Podcast 615 on Instagram, and last but not least, The Locker Room 22 on TikTok. It's been a blast. I love you all. Thank you, Locker Room faithful, for your continual support. We are going to get right back at it next week. Make sure you tune in to College Pick'ems on Saturday with the boys. And once again, I'm Jacob Courtwright, and this is The Locker Room.